Hey Falcon fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into our Falcons video where we look at how about some free agent targets. Atlanta, they don't have a lot of money, but they have a lot of needs, and so we're going to look at some free agent options for the Falcons to go ahead and potentially improve this roster, and with the news of Tom Brady retiring, become, dare we say, the best team in the NFC South, right? You saw that news, obviously, that took place earlier this week. So let's go with the broad picture. Let's go ahead and paint the canvas here quickly. The Falcons right now have about $12 million in cap space. Now, that can become more if you were to restructure Grady Jarrett's deal or maybe move around Matt Ryan's money a little bit. Like, there are obviously tools to get more money, but they got to re-sign some internal guys. Cordell Patterson is one of them, and so not a ton of money in free agency, and we'll take that into account when giving you options here today, because obviously you can't go sign the best player at every position because you don't have a lot of money. They do have 3 draft picks in the first 2 rounds, which they can use to get a lot of help at the positions, and obviously we're going to show you those draft picks in just a second, but their needs are very well known. They need a defensive end, an offensive lineman, wide receiver, running back, and cornerback. I think all of these positions have got to be added to and improved upon going into 2022. Now, your first 4 draft picks are very simple: 8 overall, 43 overall, it's your one in the second rounds, 58 overall via the Titans, and 74 your own there in the third round. That can become more, it can become greater if they would go ahead and trade Calvin Ridley, as we talked about here a lot. Now, let me just say this. They've got to be smart in free agency. Before we get into some of these options, they can't go buck wild and spend a bunch of money on one-year deals. They need to add positions of need by getting quality players at the right price. And again, you got to factor in the fact you got to sign some of your own guys here. So just be smart. Don't go crazy, but we want to give you some options to go ahead and sign in free agency. Now, which do you like more, right? Do you like free agency or the NFL draft? Because I'm a draft guy, so I would type D down below right now for draft, but free agency can be diamonds in the rough. Like, you can get a guy who either is washed up and not great and you waste money on, like you saw the Falcons do with Dante Fowler, and do with Todd Gurley, and do with Mike Davis, or you can get a really great player like Cordell Patterson. And so I'm curious what you guys like more. Oh, man, it's tough for me. Type F down below for free agency, or if you like the draft and you just like those draft picks, type D down below for draft. I'm going to say D, but I still want to get into some of the big free agency here that the Falcons could go ahead and sign, and we'll obviously jump into that here in just a second. Start with probably the most expensive player on my list, but one that would make a massive impact for the Falcons. That is the guard Laken Tomlinson, formerly of the San Francisco 49ers. We know they got to get an offensive lineman, whether it's in free agency or whether it's in the NFL draft. I don't know, but Tomlinson to me is my favorite guard that is out there right now in free agent land. He won't be too expensive, still very, very young. Didn't have a crazy great year with the 49ers, but is much better than what they currently have at the offensive line position. And so I would for sure go ahead and look at him. Former first-round draft pick, and like I said, he just wouldn't be too expensive, and that's kind of the key for today's video, is focusing on players who will make a difference, be there long term, but not be too expensive. We wanted to add Tomlinson in here on our list of 5. Add break, pin comment down below, name a player you guys want the Falcons to sign. Do you have a player that's maybe on my list, maybe not on my list? Go down to the comment section, look for the pinned comment, which is essentially the first comment that we have here on the video, and let me know down below right now. Next player on my list is a wide receiver, and again, thinking cheap right here, about Christian Kirk, the former Texas A&M wide receiver who spent time with the Arizona Cardinals. Kirk is interesting. Now, you think about Christian Kirk as a guy to go and replace Calvin Ridley, and they're going to have to replace Calvin Ridley at some point because they're going to trade him. We talked about it a ton here on the channel. They will for sure trade Calvin Ridley, and so as you look at a guy like Christian Kirk, you got to find a receiver with similar skill set who's cheaper, right? And so Kirk is not as good as Ridley, but you got to add a wide receiver to replace Calvin Ridley, and so why not look at a guy like Christian Kirk who at least has some yardage and less drama, because whatever you think about Calvin Ridley, the drama's been kind of annoying, and Atlanta needs another wide receiver, and I like the idea of adding a guy like Christian Kirk. He gets overshadowed a ton because A.J. Green and D-Hop were at the Cardinals last year, still had 17 games with 77 catches, 982 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Like, that is very, 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 very good by the young wide receiver. Again, wouldn't be too expensive, but we had a nice option, nice addition out there on the outside, potentially help out Kyle Pitts, and more importantly, help out Matt Ryan. Now, right now, there is a crazy good deal on our Falcons combo with these shirts that you need to go ahead and pick up right now. 30% off. They were $40. They're now $28.50. Yeah, that's crazy. There are always crazy deals we're giving you guys here on this stuff. Like, why would you buy something at full price? Link will be down below in the description box right now. Chatsports.com/Falcon Combo / just use the thing you see on the screen right now. 30% off. $39.99. Pick up this gear. $28.50 is the price right now. You can pick it up, get it shipped to your house in no time. All right, I want to go ahead and jump into our next player on our list. We'll throw in another wide receiver. What about JuJu Smith-Schuster, right? You think about JuJu Smith-Schuster and you think, oh, he's expensive, right? He's going to be very, very expensive. The injury last season, they only played in 5 games, is going to bring down his money, as we'll talk about here. Only 15 catches last season, only 129 yards, and no touchdowns. And it's not his fault that he got injured, but still, that does bring down the price. You look at other free agent wide receivers, that's the same exact thought process here. Like, JuJu could cost pennies on the dollar. Like, literally pennies on the dollar. He signed a one-year deal with the Steelers last year. It was like $8 million a year. It was a prove-it deal where he would play really well and then get a massive extension. Didn't happen because he got injured. So you could get another one-year prove-it deal, come to Atlanta, get a bunch of yards just like you saw Cordell Patterson do in Arthur Smith's offense, and then move on somewhere else. I don't like one-year deals in free agency for these Falcons, but you need receivers, and JuJu, Christian Kirk, I think they make a lot of sense. How important is it to you for adding another wide receiver this offseason? Like, overall, how important is it? Scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, like, not important at all. 10 being, like, super duper duper important. I'm at, like, an 8 or a 9. And I think this rolls in well with our next thing I'm going to show you here. You need receivers to help out the quarterback. And I want to show you guys who I met yesterday. It was our quarterback, because Jeffrey throws the picture of me and old Matty Ice up on the screen. I met Matt, like, 4 or 5 times in Atlanta, obviously covering the football team for the local station. I've been at training camps before, and so, you know, it's not the first time I met Matt Ryan, but I don't think he, like, recognizes me. I thought maybe by this time he would, but he's super nice. If you've not met Matt Ryan in person, fun guy. You know, shook his hand, chatted a little bit, and then got a picture. So proof is in the pudding there. We do a lot of great stuff like that, including, you know, getting pictures with Matt Ryan. At least I am on the channel. If you guys like what we do here on the channel, if you like Matt Ryan, go ahead and subscribe down below. We would greatly appreciate it. Always fun seeing old Matty Ice walking around. So tall. You always forget how tall these quarterbacks are. Matt Ryan, massive next to short, 5'9" Thomas Mott there in that photo. All right, back to the real important stuff here, and another free agent. How about a running back? Now, we've gotten a free agency in running backs the past couple of seasons, and it hadn't worked out. So I've said I want to draft a running back. But if you had to get somebody in free agency at the RB position, Raheem Mostert makes a ton of sense. I like Raheem Mostert. I used to cover the 49ers here at Chat Sports, and Mostert was an absolute baller. Now, he was going to be the number 1 running back for the Kyle Shanahan offense this past season, had season-ending knee surgery week 1. And so he immediately got, out of the picture there. But he would be super cheap. You could still draft somebody, but he would obviously be a replacement to Mike Davis, who is not coming back in Atlanta. Like, they don't have a running back on this roster right now, unless you think Kadri Ollison is the future. But, man, I don't know about Ollison, man. He's not a true number 1, whereas Mostert, if healthy, could be a number 1 or a good balance at number 1 for the Falcons. Now, there are other good free agent running backs. Melvin Gordon is one of them. Philip Lindsay is another. I love Sony Michel. Talk about a guy who'd be fantastic. Ronald Jones is another free agent. Either way, I definitely think that running back is a very, very good position to add in free agency, but I would still rather have a draft pick. But if you need to get one, those are going to be your options. All right, final player on our list is the most controversial, and I'll take all the heat you want for this one. How about Jadeveon Clowney? You say, Thomas, where's Jadeveon Clowney been? He's been hurt a lot, right? But this is the ultimate low-risk, high-reward player. Clowney could come in. It'd be very cheap, by the way, not expensive at all. He could come in and give you what you need at pass rush to go alongside the rookie pass rusher you take at number 8 overall, because I want them to take a job or Karlaftis at number 8. I think you could roll the dice here. Again, do you have enough money to do so? Maybe not, but you need help on the defensive line. We know that. I know I said before you don't want to take risks at pass rushers in free agency because Fowler didn't work out, but I think that this would be a cheap enough guy. I think Clowney's been injured enough in his career. He'd be cheap enough where you could bring him in and just roll the dice and see what happens. Is it guaranteed to work? I don't know, but I wanted to include him on this list because not a lot of people are talking about him, and he's still going to be signing somewhere, and maybe he has a revitalized part in his career. You'd hope it would be in a Falcons uniform. All right, who's your favorite Falcon in free agency? What's their biggest need in free agency overall? Is it pass rusher? Is it running back? Is it wide receiver? What do you think is the biggest free agent need for the Falcons? Let me know what that is down below in the comment section right now. Of course, as we end, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We have plenty of great content coming up this week and many weeks after on the channel here, so go subscribe. Follow me on Twitter as well, @RealThomasMott. My picture with Matt Ryan has like 1,000 likes on Twitter, so if you like that kind of stuff, give me a follow, @RealThomasMott. All day for today for our Falcons video. Thomas Mott signing off for the rest of your day.